there's no participation in math course rigor.
So math course rigor is actually the percent of students who successfully complete integrated math 3 or NC math 1. And so with that particular measure, it's a school quality or student success measure. It is not required to monitor participation on that. And it almost seems like it would be duplicative since the measure itself is the percent successfully completing it with a passing grade. So that is why we did not hold participation to that. It's almost like, in doing that, it is doing that. And it is not required to have it for participation. Now you will see we do have participation for ACT and ACT work keys, which are also school quality or student success measures. We can of course add that, but I will also say that while we're not reporting that participation, this measure is seniors, and it is all seniors regardless of their status as with respect to occupational course of study students or students with disabilities. So the measure does include all. So the reporting out of that is sufficient in our regard.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Dr. Howard?
Taylor, yes. In the
Yes.
You confirmed that what I thought about some of this, that some of it's driven by ESSA, and I just wanted to make sure that there is both feedback from the LEAs and then communication to the LEAs regarding that piece as well. That some of this is driven. And some of the feedback I'm getting is regarding matters that just are not a matter for the state to be able to do. So anyway, we're in the summer months, and I just want to make sure that we're getting feedback from the LEAs and a communication plan to and with the LEAs.
Okay.
Excellent point. And as everybody knows, we do have a month before we vote on this. But Dr. Howard, can you speak to how this is being communicated at this point to the field?
Yes, we have a couple of ways that we ensure that we do that. One is we've had a series of webinars for the past several months that are continuing through this summer, and they address the specific business rules that are listed at the top of Accountability 020. And so we have those webinars. There's opportunity time for questions. At the end of those webinars, we respond to those questions, and those invitations for those webinars are sent to our accountability and testing contacts across the state, both at districts and charter schools, and we encourage them to bring others of their colleagues in their offices to participate as well. We also have what is referred to as the Control Configuration Board, which we call the CCB. That is a group of accountability coordinators that represent the regions across the state. We have a conference call with them once a month. And that conference call, we also discuss the particulars of these business rules around accountability. In fact, I can share this morning, I was approached about 2 decision points and said, the CCB, when are they meeting? They're meeting next Friday. Put that on the list. We need to get their input before we make a final decision. So we are trying very hard to do 2 things. 1, get input before we make final decisions. And 2, always go back to the law and what we are actually required to do.
Right. Well, thanks. I want to make sure they didn't come back to school in mid to late August and be surprised. Some of that is responsibility of the LEA then to communicate with our teachers.
Thank you, Mr. McDevitt. That is very important. And Dr. Howard, it does sound like y'all have a good system for communicating.
Yeah.
I think the time of the year makes it difficult because folks are not as tuned in, I think, oftentimes during a period of these 4 weeks during the summer. I would encourage our board members to communicate with your districts the best you can through Eureka or any contacts you may have. Any other comments or questions on this item? Okay, being none, let's move on to SLA 2, field testing and special studies for the 2018-19 school year. And of course, there is a general statute that states that the superintendent shall notify local boards of education by October 1 of each year of any field tests that will be administered in their schools during the school year, the schools at which the field test will be administered, and the specific field tests that will be administered at each school. And Dr. Tammy Howard's going to update us on where we are with that.
Thank you. So for the 2018-19 school year, you'll see an attachment 2, which has the list of what we would refer to as a standalone field test. Based on the decision in the fall of 2017 to embed as much as possible in our general assessments, even though we're field testing English language arts this year, we're doing that in an embedded format, and we do not have the standalone on this list for that because we're not going to be doing it. So that is very good news, and very much appreciate the board's direction on that. You will see on this list the NC Extend 1 field test, and those are the assessments for the 1% of our population that is considered most seriously cognitively disabled. Unfortunately, that population is so small that we would really be unable to use the embedded model and then have enough statistics on those items to build valid and reliable assessments going forward. And also, in consideration of that population, to add items to their test, to add the testing time at one incident is really a burden on them. It's better for them to break it up into 2 different occurrences. But having said that, we do try to make that as minimal of a test as we possibly can. But that is why you'll see here the Extend 1 for grades 5 and 8 science, and then for English language arts. Now, we do make sure across the state that if students are participating in the English language arts, they then do not participate in the science at grades 5 and 8. So grades 5 and 8, the students will participate one or the other, not both. And then on the second page, you will see the references to the NAEP assessments, and these, of course, are required. NAEP is required by federal law. And these are the studies for this year in math and reading and vocabulary, and National Indian Education Study, and computer accessibility and familiarity study. So pending board approval, we will then notify the field, which will have an opportunity to appeal. We'll present those appeals to the Compliance Commission and come back to you actually in September with a recommendation from any granting of those appeals.
Thank you, Dr. Howard. Any comments or questions? As you can hear, Dr. Howard is asking for any guidance or input that we may have as we move forward with this. We know that anytime we're talking about testing, and it can be a sensitive subject, and so I encourage board members to please share any suggestions that you may have, and of course, listen to your stakeholders. Are there any comments or questions?
Ms. Taylor, this is Ms. Willoughby. I just wanted to applaud Dr. Howard for her efforts. I think Mr. McDevitt will recall that, early on in our tenure on the board, we asked for more embedding so that we had fewer and fewer standalone field tests, and I think that the accountability services area has certainly improved that process, and I'm anxious to hear, because there is so much press and we have lots of people out there saying too much testing, so I'm anxious to hear what DPI leadership is offering to you, not today, but in the months that are coming, what kinds of concrete suggestions you're getting from DPI leadership and the General Assembly to reduce that while still being responsible and making sure that every child in North Carolina is served according to our responsibility constitutionally to do that.
Thank you, Ms. Willoughby. Yeah, excellent point, and this is an area of high interest. So, Dr. Howard, again, thank you so much for your work with this, and we look forward to hearing more as we move along. Any other questions or comments? Okay, being none, Chairman Covey, that does conclude the Student Learning and Achievement Committee report.
Well, thank you, Ms. Taylor. That concludes all of our committee reports, and we'll now move to our consent agenda. You have those items before you, so I will, unless there's a request to remove any of those from the consent agenda, I ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Olivia Oxendine offers a motion to do so.
Okay, Dr. Oxendine moves, and now we need a second.
Taylor, second.
Okay, Ms. Taylor seconds the motion. Dr. Townsend Smith, please call the roll.
Chairman Kobe,
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis,
Yes.
State Treasurer Falwell,
Yes.
Ms. White,
Yes.
Mr. Duncan,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt,
Yes.
Ms. Willoughby,
Yes.
Mr. Keenan,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine.
Yes.
Okay, motion stands approved. I want to thank everyone for your participation during this July 5th, 2018 board meeting. I hope you have...
Treasurer Dale Falwell, sorry I was late calling in.
Has left the conference.
Okay. I hope all of you enjoyed time with friends and family during this July 4th holiday. During the August meeting, we will formally acknowledge and welcome new advisors to the board. I note that we have 2 or 3 on the phone today, and I thank you for being on the phone today, and we'll recognize you in August. And that concludes this board meeting, and so I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Has left the conference.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Breaking up.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Mrs. Willoughby, so moved.
Okay, motion by Ms. Willoughby, second by
Taylor.
Ms. Taylor. Dr. Townsend Smith, please call the roll.
Chairman
Yes.
Kobe.
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Ms. White,
Yes. Left the conference.
Mr. Duncan,
Yes.
Mr. McDevitt,
Yes.
Ms. Willoughby,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Dr. Oxendine.
Yes.
Tricia Willoughby.
The motion stands
Left the
approved. We
conference.
stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Has left the conference.